So today I have Khari Lane with me. Khari Lane is the owner of Wildcat Investment Strategies. He teaches the basics of Nadex and makes it easy to understand for beginners. His videos are packed with a ton of information covering the platform from top to bottom. So Khari, let's fill in the gap from the intro by you telling us a bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Khari Lane. At the time of this recording, I am 20 years old, and I am a Nadex trader. Just like everyone else, I'm not really trying to sell like a product or anything, like now, I'm just a regular guy, and I know a lot about Nadex, and I love it, and I like to teach it to people so that they can learn how to utilize it for themselves.
And how did you first get involved into trading on Nadex?
Okay, so the story of how I first got involved is a little bit out of left field. I was on the internet one day, and I was actually looking for shoes or something like that. It was a while ago because I just came off like my injury. I was supposed to be working out a lot, and I was trying to be a baseball player out of high school, and my injury kept me from doing that. So, I kind of had nothing to do. Things were going on with my family, and I kind of had to give that up. So I was trying to figure out new things to do, and I was just kind of chilling out, and I was looking up shoes on YouTube, and on one of the videos in the background, I heard this quote from this guy that said, when you want to be successful, if you want to be successful, you have to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. And I wanted to figure out like who that quote was. So I looked up that quote, and I found it was Eric Thomas. And then I looked up Eric Thomas, and I found his video, The Truth, and that video changed my life. It's on YouTube. Just look up The Truth by Eric Thomas. I don't know if they took it down or whatever, but yeah, that video changed my life. And then for like 15 hours that day, I was just looking up everything that I could about trying to make money. And then I found, I saw SEO, I saw MLM, I was previously involved with some of that, and I was trying to figure out other ways that, I wasn't necessarily looking into before. And then I found Timothy Sykes, and he had a video that said how to make $5,000 in 30 minutes. And Timothy Sykes is a famous penny stock trader, and I had no idea what I was looking at. I was looking at my first chart, and I had no idea what it was, and I just saw all of these green and red lines, and then he was just yelling, saying that the stock was going to fall, and then out of nowhere, I just saw like a bunch of red lines moving downward, and then he said that he made like $5,000, and I saw it on the screen, and I was like, what the heck is this? I wanted to learn everything I could about trading from there, so I started learning like penny stocks and stuff, and then I kind of stopped once I realized that you needed like 25 grand in order to trade more than 3 trades a week. That's the day trading rule that the SEC has, the pattern day trading rule. And then I was like, okay, so I got to figure out a way how to trade cheaper. And then I started looking into stuff like options. And then that's when I found like binary options. And then I got really into that. I thought that they were like legit and all that kind of stuff. But then like the type of binaries that I got into, I figured out were illegal. The companies that were operating in the U.S. illegally. And then once I started figuring that out and figuring out like how they worked and all that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, so this is pretty much, not any type of way how to really invest or any way how to really like make money that's reliable. So that's when I figured out that that's why I found Nadex. And then once I found Nadex, I consequently found Apex, and I was on with them for a while, and then I was trading Nadex every day with Apex for a while, and then once I was comfortable with that, I took a look back on Facebook, and I wasn't telling anyone what I was doing. I looked back on Facebook, and there was this major promotion for all of these offshore binaries that the companies were operating illegally in the U.S.
Right.
And people just had no idea what they were getting into, so I just decided to create Wildcat to kind of show people, hey, this is wrong. Here are the right type of options. They're a little bit more confusing because the offshores are very, very simplistic. But I say, hey, here are the right kind that are regulated and mandated by the U.S. by the U.S. government and stuff. So here's Nadex. Here's what you should be learning. And I tried to go over it as easy as possible so that people can understand, hey, you can apply your strategies, whatever you're learning over here at Nadex, and make money, and your money is secure with them, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand that. And you're like the Moses of binary options.
Well, I learned everything from Daryl Martin. It's just it's funny because me and Daryl are really good friends, and
Right.
He was so confused at like how I was able to like do all of this, and like he wasn't even. I mean, he is. I mean, he's way leagues ahead of me. He was just like, how was I able to amass this amount of people that wanted to learn and understand like what I said and stuff. I was basically telling him, you know, I did everything that I could to make it simple and make it so people, just everyday people, could understand it. So, you know, we're going to be working together to try and create a new class and make it just simple so that the average person who has absolutely no idea about any of this can learn it. So that's it. And I honestly have no idea how all of these people came to me at once, but
Right.
all the credit goes to him. I learned from him and basically decided, hey, you know, he teaches all of this really complex stuff, you know, and if you're not really well into it, you kind of have to search around and dedicate a lot of time to it. So I kind of my goal was to really make it easy on people. That's the only thing that I want to do. I want to make it so that, you know, my mom can sit down and watch my videos and say, okay, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So that's my goal, to make it stupid simple.
Yeah, when it comes to complexity, Daryl has his moments, but he simplifies things very well in a lot of his videos.
Oh yeah, we're working on simplification. That's our main goal.
All right, so moving on to the next question. What does the first few minutes of your trading day look like?
Waiting for NinjaTrader to load takes like 25 minutes because we're on NinjaTrader 7. So I'm waiting for my charts for a good 10 minutes, honestly. After that, I check Daryl's news trading plans to see if there's anything that I need to be aware of, and that's pretty much it. After that, I'm all price action.
And what's your biggest strength as a trader?
My biggest strength is probably the fact that I've lost so many times when I started out. Because my story was when I started off like doing this whole thing, I had no idea what I was doing. So I would come up and throw in like $400 into account. I'd make profit and then lose all of it. And that happened to be like 3 times. So, the fact that I've like blown my account kind of made me like, okay, if I lose, I can come back in and learn it. I blew my account 3 times before I was successful. So, the fact that, you know, I've lost it now that I've like gotten used to it, I don't lose the way that I used to before. I definitely learned how to manage my losses, and I can, you know, look at my chart and be fine with, you know, my stop loss. I don't have to keep readjusting it if the market is falling, you know?
You know, there's a quote that goes along with what you just said, and it kind of goes along the lines like this. If you want to be successful, double your failure rate. So, like,
that's interesting.
If you want to be successful, like, twice as fast, like, fail twice as much, and then you'll get there eventually.
Definitely. I had a lot of failures even before I started trading, just like I won't name the company, but, you know, I was really into MLM, failed at that, failed at CPA, SEO. I mean, I did everything, and I dedicated so much time to it. But once I learned that you don't have to sell products or anything anymore, or beg people for subscriptions or leads or anything, trading was it for me, and I decided to put in the work until I became successful at it.
When you first saw that dip on Timothy Sykes' video, it was a wrap. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you gotta understand, like, I'm used to being broke. Right. So tell anyone that they can make $5,000 in 30 minutes, you better listen. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just are lazy, because the video is 30 minutes long. So unless you're lazy, you better listen. You better find your way through, you know?
Do you have a certain asset that you like to trade the most?
Right now, probably Nasdaq, because it's very easy to manage your risk because it only ticks $5 a tick and it moves a lot. I like trading Nasdaq. Oil is fun when you're on the right side of oil because it's a monster. Sometimes, if you, I mean, when I was starting out, S&P, because it doesn't move as much, it nets more per tick. It nets like $12.50 a tick. But you know, if you want to be in a market that's not as fast and, you know, is a little bit more controllable, but it doesn't trend that as much, go with S&P. But I'm feeling Nasdaq right now.
I haven't traded Nasdaq before, but is it really volatile, like as volatile as oil?
It trends. It's easier on the trends.
Right.
Oil will fly back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
40 points at a time. So, I mean, 40 ticks at a time, not points. But, yeah, and then it'll move like 200. So, I mean, oil is all over the place. I mean, but oil can trend very easily. But yeah, I like Nasdaq a little bit more for trending, but I mean, the indices, if you want trending, I mean, it depends on the type of trader that you are. If you want trending in the indices, Nasdaq and Russell are probably one of the two to really trade, but
right.
I mean, you're not going to get as much trending in the indices as you are like on currency futures like the 6E and stuff like that. Or oil trends more. It also, I mean, oil moves around a lot. That's all I'll say.
It does.
Yeah, it moves around a lot. Yeah, it's scary if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're a futures trader, and you know it has 1,000 margin per contract. So I mean, you have to really have the capital in order to be able to trade it, and you have to know and be set in your ways of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So. Definitely don't start off with oil. It's not what I would recommend. Unless you're doing like the Nadex spreads and you would do like $1 a tick on oil, try and control yourself. But even then, it's you know, you got to get used to it. Yeah, but yeah, that's my answer to that question.
So what's your favorite indicator to use?
Favorite indicator to use is volume. I spent maybe a month and a half, 2 months just sitting in my room every day from like 8 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock a.m. studying every single last indicator that I possibly can. So I know a lot of them out there, and there are a lot of problems with them. There are some that are really great. I'm not going to say that they're not. I mean, there are a lot of problems with them. There are also a lot of problems with time-based charts, which, you know, I'll talk about that another time. But, you know, most of them don't have any basis on how the market actually moves. You know, the market might react because, you know, traders are seeing, like on a stochastics level, that it's oversold or overbought. Which really doesn't even exist, but that's another conversation for another day. But the market might move in an overbought or oversold zone just because people are seeing it on their stochastics and want to sell or buy there, right? It doesn't actually have to do anything with, you know, the major players and the people who are actually moving the markets. That all has to do with volume. And there are tons and tons of studies on volume. I recommend to anyone, if you're going to really get into this market, you learn basic price action and learn how volume works and studies of volume. That's what I recommend.
And if you had one piece of advice for someone starting out trading, what would it be?
Well, first of all, the one piece of advice, it would have to come from, you know, how much money do you have? You would have to answer this for yourself. How much money do you have? How much money are you planning to throw away? Because you have to be willing to throw money away. You can't have $100 to your name and put $100 in the market and think that you're going to make $1 million. I've had so many people, come to me and say that, and every time they come back to me and say, well, I lost my money, what more do I have to learn? And the first thing you have to learn is, you know, you can't let this take away from your regular life. You know, you can't let the market mess you up to that extent, because I've been there and other people have been there. That's the first mistake and first thing that people need to know. So first piece of advice is, you know, learn money management before you even enter the market trading. And then My next piece of advice is once you segmented your money away for trading, talk to some people who do it and learn quickly who knows what they're talking about, because a lot of people, and this is really unfortunate, a lot of people are just here to sell you a lot of quote unquote information that you can find for free. And a lot of people don't trade the information that they're actually selling. So find someone who actually knows what they're talking about and would be able to help you with your individual situation. If you can't directly talk to them, find their teachings. Some people know what they're talking about and charge an arm and a leg for their teachings. If you can't afford that, then try and talk to, just some regular people who have gone different routes. Get involved on Facebook, get involved in different communities. That's what I will say to that. It makes your life a whole lot easier than putting the blame on, not the blame, but putting the responsibility on yourself in order to go out and find what you want.
I just want to expound a little bit on the entry level, on the amount of money that you're trading with to start.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find a comfortable range that you're comfortable with losing.
Right.
A good way to gauge this is if you go out to your driveway, just throw some money out in the street and burn it. And
oh no, I couldn't burn it. I'll throw it out in the street, but I couldn't burn it.
And the minute you start pulling your hair, that's the amount of money that you're willing to risk in the market. So it's a good technique to find out what your risk threshold is.
Wow.
So Khari, you've had your ups and downs as a trader. Take us to the worst trade you've ever had and the lesson you learned from it.
Actually, it was a series of trades. There was one day I lost $35,000 in a day. Now, this is actually I'll actually talk about two different times. So, when I started trading Nadex, the reason why I came up fast is because I had insane risk management at the time, and I had no idea. What I would do is I started out with $1,500.
Okay.
And I would trade to the point that I would when I would make profit, I would risk half my profit, right? So if I made $2,000 and now I have a $3,500 account and I'm risking $1,000, on one trade or on a series of trades, in my opinion, in my mind back when I was a novice, I was like, okay, I can just risk half my profit, and at worst case scenario, if I lose it, I still made 50% of my profit. At max case scenario, if I make it, if I make money on it, I'm making more profit than I can have to risk to make more. So that was my philosophy when I was a beginner and I had no idea what I was doing. So because I had crazy risk management at the time, I started coming up and making some good money, and once I started really climbing up, there was just this time where I was trading at a loss. So I figured I can try and risk it more and do it over again. I lost more, and it turned into a $35,000 loss, and then that was kind of when I stepped back and I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna do that again. So that was that day. That was terrible. There's another day that I was moving to put some money on a futures account. I'll never forget this. So I was trading, I think it was Russell, and it was right before the open, and I have no idea why I did this. But anyone who trades Russell knows that it's really not liquid at all. And I went ahead and threw 50 contracts on it because I'm used to trading Nadex, and that spiked the market. And I'm like, oh my god, I actually moved it for a second, and then right when I did that, it spiked and it whipsawed right against me. And I lost so much money. I pulled out of my trade so. I pulled out of my trade, but I didn't even have the time to set a stop loss.
Right.
It was my first time trading live on futures, and being an options trader, trading options and not moving the market with your contract size, I learned that pretty quickly you shouldn't do that on futures, and you definitely have to control your margin and all that kind of stuff. So those were my two two biggest losing days, and now I'm a lot more steady and a lot more thoughtful with my risk management, I guess you could say.
All right. Now, Khari, we're going to move on to the last question of the day. Imagine you took a bad trade and you had to start all over from square one the next day.
Hmm?
You still have all the trading experience you have, but all you have left in your account is $100.
Hmm?
What would you do to start building your account?
Okay, given the fact that I've been here and failed, I will tell you exactly what I know, what I would do, if I could take it back. That happened to be on Nadex, like when I was first starting out, like, my first Nadex account was like, maybe like $200 and it dwindled down. And I was trading the binaries. I was trading like the at the money binaries. Right. And, that didn't work out for me because I had, $100 in my pocket and I was trading the at the money binaries, which are like $50. And if you lose them, you lose $50. So, coming back, I talked to Daryl about this and, he was saying the easiest way to do it would be to be with the spreads because, if you were trading like an at the money spread and it's only like $50, well, now if you lose, you don't lose $50 at a time. If the market goes down 10 ticks or 10 pips, Forex or, futures, you're only losing $10. You know what I mean? And you can close out your trade at any time. So, set your stop loss. If you have $100 in your account, you spend 50 on a spread, market moves 20 pips or 20 ticks. That's $20. I mean, people don't want to do that because they have, delusions of grandeur. They say, hey, I have $100. I'm trying to make $1 million, or I have even if it's not $1 million, I have $100. I'm trying to make 5,000 by the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? People just have these unrealistic goals. It can be done. It's just unrealistic. So they don't pace themselves. And what that ends up doing is that creates the illusion of, hey, I can make as much money as I can with this little bit that's in my account. And, what you should be doing, and I take that with a grain of salt because I'm not trying to be like a financial advisor, but it would be smart, I should say, it would be smart to have a much better profit management structure. And when you're trading the spreads, you might make 20 pips on a trade, that's a good number. It's not absolutely wild, just 20 pips. And that's $20. Now you close that trade out and now you're up $20. People don't realize that that's 20% of your account if you're starting with $100. Right. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, $100 is just hard to do any type of portfolio margining with it or any type of risk management with it, because even if you lose like $5, which is pretty much bid-ask spread, you're down 5% on a spread, which, any retail trader will tell you being down 5% or more is like terrible for them. So, I mean, $100 is just hard to work with in general, but once you start pushing, up in your account size, you can start managing it a little bit better. But if you only had $100, I would go with the Nadex spreads, at the money Nadex spreads, not the out of the money at all. Excuse me.
Not the out of the money at all?
No, not at all. It is so much easier to lose your money there on the spreads and the binaries, because on the spreads, it'll take a lot longer for the market to move to, for the Nadex indicative to move to where the market actually is. And you can have some trades go in your favor and you not really make that much money at all. So trade the at the money spreads and just get out when you have a loss that you like. Just plot your levels on your chart and get out where you say you're going to get out.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for being on the show today, Khari. Let's end things off with a parting piece of guidance and the best way we can reach you.
Okay. The best way you can reach me is, you can go on Wildcat, my website, wildcatinvesting.com, and just go to like the contact section. You can contact me there. You can, go to the Wildcat Facebook group and then just like post questions in the group. And that's current. I don't know how that's going to change or anything. But it's currently the easiest two ways to reach me.
And a parting piece of guidance.
Best thing I can tell you is to get over yourself, because a lot of people see trading, and it's great because you don't have to sell anything. You can be on your computer. I mean, I've made money in my pajamas before, so I mean, they see it as like a way to like financial freedom, and it can be. It's not like it's not a guaranteed thing. And what people do is that they trip themselves out and they say, hey, I have $100, $500, $1,000. Let me try and make $1 million. And what they do is that they get ahead of themselves and they see all the money that's possible, and they say, I need that tomorrow, or I need that next week, or I need that in a month. And they get ahead of themselves trying to get as much money as possible that they're not making great trades. And the easiest and best thing that you can do for yourself is pace yourself and learn trader psychology, because you have to learn to get over what you want. And because it's not about what you want, it's not about your personal financial goals as much as it is making good trades, because the market doesn't care about your financial goals. As long as it really doesn't. Trust me, I've been there. The market doesn't care about you or any other person, because there are a lot of people trading it. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is try it and pace yourself and say, hey, I'm just going to focus on what the market is telling me or what my trading plan is instead of what my financial success is. You can reach it. It is achievable. But one of the main reasons why people don't achieve it is because they can't pace themselves. They can't deal with the psychology of it. So that's a major part that I will concede to saying. The best things I could tell you is, get over yourself. Don't do too much that's out of your comfort range, and try and get the best education that you can. It's really hard to balance, but once you find that balance, whether you're working your job and you're just trying to learn this on the side. Once you find that balance, you can start to take the steps to become successful.